What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Docs Daily. We are live and in full effect. It is Thursday, June 19th. We are here Monday through Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern, Saturday, 11 o'clock Eastern. I'm joined with Craig Trapp on my, well, he's over there. I don't know what side that is to you people. And Robert Ferringo's over there. Again, I don't know what side that is to you people, but you get it. One's got hair, one doesn't. That's how you play along, folks.
So for now.
For now, yeah, well, I didn't want to go there, but I'm just saying, I got, I'm just saying. Anyways, don't forget about free $60 account. If you're a new customer to Doc Sports, head over to the website, or there's a link in the description of the video. It's so easy. New customers, docsports.com/free60. You get a free $60 account just for signing up. You can use that however you want. 30 on that guy, 30 on that guy, whatever you want. Put it towards a week pass. You do, you Pikachu. YouTube Premium, $19.99 for Indian Cowboy level. The Premium Plus is $49.99. That includes Indian Cowboy level and a video play every day from Craig Trapp. 3 Docs expert plays, 2, 3, 4 stars, something like that. Every day, Craig will drop it for you every day. What time you drop that?
Between 11:30 and 12:30. It just kind of depends on, because I have to wait on the cappers to actually have the picks in. Today, you get a WNBA, an MLB, and a prop in the NBA, strong prop in the NBA for one of our guys. So make sure you check it out. You can't beat it, just $49.99. And that's a month. But make sure you do it on the desktop. Otherwise, they charge you extra.
Yeah, do it on the desktop. I always forget to tell people, and I apologize. If you do it through your mobile device, there's an extra charge. So if you're savvy, do it on the desktop. All right, gentlemen, we got an NBA game. Oh, and my phone's going off. I apologize. Everybody's upset. Tigers game's delayed. I apologize.
Booty call. Booty call. That's what that was.
Yeah, not at 10 o'clock in the morning with my wife in the other room. Craig, come on.
Maybe it's the wife calling the booty call.
We all know too long for that. Yeah, we've all been married enough times.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going on 8 years.
Come on, Mandy. Come on, Mandy.
Yeah. No. We got a lot of baseball today, pending weather, apparently, in the Midwest. And then we do have an NBA game 6, Thunder Pacers. NHL's over. I don't know.
CFL and a WNBA today.
Yeah, we have a CFL and, well, today's Thursday. Yeah, one CFL game. By the way, side note, I love that CFL spaces the 4 or 5 games that they have a week out between Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, and some days they do Sunday too. So
yeah, you might get a day here and there. You got 2 WNBA games. We'll go around we'll start with you, Robert. What do you got going on today? What do you got going on just in general in life?
I actually have a pretty big day. Most of May, I was just kind of sitting back waiting, but I don't know. I've caught a little hot streak lately. Won a 7-unit soccer play again last night. That was about as easy a money as money gets with Juventus. -1.5. So 5 straight winning days there in soccer since I started my limited soccer release for almost plus 4,000. And I like today's card too. I got plays in the Porto Inter Miami match that starts at 3. That's the Club World Cup. And I have 5 total units going in the Saudi Arabia USA match this evening at 9 o'clock. So trying to get that 6 winning day in a row. 7-unit WNBA play that does involve Miss Caitlin Clark tonight at 10 p.m. Like the side and the total in that game.
Okay.
To be honest with you, it was hard to decide which one I liked more this morning. But in the end of the day, I went with the side for a 7-unit play there and 7-unit daily prop play in the NBA game 6. So. Like I said, let's see if we can stay higher. 6-1 plus 37.85, I think it is, with my last 7 plays rated 5 units or higher across all sports. So feeling good, and let's play for a big day.
I like it. Craig, what do you got going on?
Usually I'm 2-3 plays a day. Every once in a while, like today, I have 4. I have 7-unit CFL, 6-unit NBA. And then a smaller play, I think 3-unit play in prop, and that's an NBA player prop, and then a 3-unit play in Major League Baseball. I kind of like these games today in baseball, but they kind of scared me. There was a couple, and I thought a lot of them were maybe weather related again, which always I hate, because when they start games and then your pitcher scratches because it's a 3-hour rain delay, then you're stuck with it. Those are the worst. So when I see weather in the Midwest, it kind of scared me off on some of them. But by the way, why in the hell is Scooble
And dude, I was just gonna bring it up.
not going up against each other. That's Pittsburgh basically admitting we have no chance of winning game one against Schoolball, but we might be able to get a.
I think we can take one. Right. You already lost game one of the series.
That's why that was one of my plays. That's why I like Detroit. I had Detroit minus 1.5 yesterday. They only adjusted the juice like 10 cents today on that run line. So I'm like, yes, Tariq Schoolball, give me a break. And like you said, like you pointed out, if they had thrown Skeens up against them, I probably still would have gone Detroit. But I would have had to think about it or stay away. But once I saw that they're throwing Heaney, I'm like, dude, they're just playing for a split. They're just crossing their fingers and hoping that they can win game two and basically admitting that they have no chance of winning game one.
What do you think the total would have been? It had been like 6, right? If they would have
5.5.
I mean, it would have been.
I mean, Crochet at like that Seattle Boston game yesterday was 6.5. Haven't seen many of those lately. Even with scoring down. You know what I mean? Like I would expect to see a lot more 6s and 6.5s than we do. Since
it should be mandatory. If there's a doubleheader, you have the best pitchers in both games have to pitch in the first game.
Do you remember that year? Remember that year when they did the doubleheaders were only 7 innings?
Yes.
Was that 1 year or 2 years?
That was
the
1
year.
year. I think
that was the dumbest thing ever, man. I hated that.
I didn't like that. Yeah.
It was the same year they changed the extra innings, right? It was the same year they changed the extra innings.
I think so,
They never went back on the extra innings. At least they went back on the doubleheader. So I think it should be mandatory Saturday or Sunday doubleheaders like it used to be back in the day. You would get a lot more days off during the week for these teams for travel. And I mean, I remember my dad talking about it. And granted, he'd be like 77 or 78 now. He's no longer with us. But he would say, back when Pete Rose that you would go on the weekends to Crosley Field and you'd get to see him play 2 games for the price of 1. It would be freaking sold out because like day baseball, and then whenever that game's over, 30 minutes later the next game starts. Now they do a doubleheader. A lot of times they split them, clear out the park so they can get extra revenue. Bastards.
Right. And then for the Tigers, they gotta play this doubleheader, which game 1 is already delayed. It's supposed to start in 2 minutes. It's already said it's been delayed. Now you got to go to Tampa. You got to go south. You play Tampa Bay tomorrow in Tampa.
Yeah, it's going to get hot. It's going to get hot. I don't know if you guys have seen the weather for next week. It's going to get hot across the country next week. That means the ball is going to be flying.
Did you see the Rays are going to sell for $3 billion? And I was like, oh, that's a pretty damn good number. And then boom, like 2 hours later, it comes out that the Lakers are selling for $10 billion. I was like, whoa.
But still, if that's what we're talking about, that's still pretty good for Tampa Bay.
I thought so.
You know what I mean? Compared to the Lakers, like the Lakers are as premium a sports brand as you have in North America. So
and it's not like you own a park. Your park is in shambles. You have really nowhere to play. They don't know if they're going to continue this other park that they were going to build now that that's so it's like, I mean, you have to have a lot of kahunas to pay $3 billion on a place where you're playing in a minor league park for the next few years potentially. So
you gotta have a plan. I mean, you're not going to shell out $3 billion without going, all right, what are we doing for a stadium now? I mean,
he's a developer.
Gotta expect that.
There's no amount of money that's a bad investment in a sports franchise.
Not anymore.
Not
anymore. Do you see that
from the TV rights and how it is propping up? I've been saying for 15 years, even before it broke off and went to YouTube, that sports were propping up. They're like a pillar of our economy, basically, right there with real estate, health, stuff like that. It was propping up television for 15 years. So you
wasn't
have
it the Rays
rights.
600 million?
They're all real estate empires now. Like all of these sports teams are major real estate on top of just the revenue that they make from playing. So
and now sports betting legal
and now
in
sports
states.
betting. Right.
And you can't. I go to a Comerica Park and go see a Tiger game, and it's FanDuel kiosks everywhere. And you can every park you go to in a game, even if you go downtown Vegas in the T-Mobile Arena. That's the
Florida though, non-legal state. Only the Indian casinos can you bet at Hard Rock.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't quite get that revenue as of yet. But Florida, it's been on the referendum several times, so maybe if that passes, you get a little extra bonus there. It's just he is a real estate developer that's buying. But I did see, I think the Rays were 200. If I saw that 200 million when is the franchise fee when they started, and they sell for $3 billion. That's a pretty good return on your.
That's what I'm saying. Show me anybody that's lost money over the last 40 years buying into sports franchises. It just doesn't happen.
I don't. Maybe I'm missing something. I would not sell all of it. I would be like, hey, I'll sell you 80%. I want to keep 20%. Just send me a check every year for
right.
I want an
400
interest. That's like the hot thing too. Celebrities all buying up soccer franchises or this or that or everywhere. It's the new hot market, and it pays dividends. So I mean, why not?
The Lakers owner is the Dodgers owner. I didn't hear if he's bringing along some of those ownership group, which include Magic Johnson. I hope so, because that would be good if Magic owned a piece of the Lakers, and but it's the new age of billions and billions and billions is crazy. I mean, basically, you're going to have like the Elon Musk, of the world that are going to be own teams going forward. Like that's just there's no.
Have you not seen Back to the Future like 3 where Biff owns the casino and stuff? That's the future, dude.
We're going to own the casino in the future. We're going to us 3.
He probably owned every sports franchise.
Lenny's
the future.
It was at the Plaza. It was filmed. The Back to the Future 2 down in Vegas, and it's going to be the Leonard's. What was it? It was the Biff's Party Palace, wasn't it to call it? Or something like that.
I don't know, something palace.
Lenny's Party Palace. Lenny's Party Palace.
Yeah.
I also want to get what is I people have texted me that are in Illinois that are my customers, and they're like, we're going to have to pay a fee per bet.
Yeah, a tax.
50 cents or something like that per bet, because they passed a new tax on all sports betting.
Basically a transaction fee.
And they're going to, and they could have ate it. The operators could ate it, but they're not eating that. And they're passing that along to all customers starting, I think, September 1st. It might be August 1st.
Well, I'm going to lose a bunch of clients from Illinois then, basically, since I'm more of a volume guy. Those 22 day college basketball play Saturdays, I don't think they're going to enjoy that very much.
Well, for big bettors, it doesn't make that big a deal, because 50 cents on $1,000 bet's nothing.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be, so here's what I just Googled it. Effective July 1st, 2025, the state will impose a tax on companies that operate online or mobile sports betting wagers of privilege, blah, blah, 25 cents per wager for the first 20 million wagers and 50 cents per wager beyond that.
And FanDuel has come out.
They're passing that along to the customer.
No other FanDuel came out with they're going to do 50 cents. I don't think DraftKings and everybody else has announced it yet, but everybody's going to have to pass. There's no way you could just eat that. They're already paying a ridiculous tax. Illinois was already an expensive tax state for the operators.
Yeah, they're just it's going to be either a quarter.
And you know what happens? Copycats.
I was just going to say, don't be surprised if they just start adding those, even in states where it's not a tax or a law. The sports books will just do it just because they know that they have the clients over a barrel.
It's another source of revenue.
Just do it to boost revenues because they know that guys will pay it. We'll just pay the extra 25, 50 cents. So
I did see Beason said that DraftKings is looking at either a fee per wager or just pay a little more juice. So instead of minus 110 on wagers, it's minus 112.
Can't do that. I don't.
No, they won't, because bettors will be keener to that, I think, than they will be to just the 25 cents. But all right,
better juice.
Hold on a second. Kate Koopa is jumping in here. Thoughts on the Yankees? I think the Yankees are pissing me off. That's my thought on the Yankees. I lost each of the last 2 days with them on the run line. Don't know, man. Don't know.
They're already down.
I don't know what's going on with them. I know, obviously they get swept in Boston, so you can expect that they would have a little bit of a letdown when they come home. That's a natural, normal thing. So they lose game 1-1-0, and I think, okay, well they're gonna bounce back in game 2 against whatever schlub. Oh, it was Kyle Hendricks. They were throwing out Kyle.
Yes,
they made Kyle Hendricks look like Satchel Paige.
Yeah.
Okay. Then they throw out some other schlub yesterday, and the Yankees could barely scratch out anything and lose again. So, frankly, I know this is going to sound nuts. I'd still take them on the run line today. I just don't believe what I'm seeing. But it's probably best to just stay away. But gun to my head, if I had to take a side, I just refuse to believe that they're going to get swept in a 4-game series by the Angels at home. I don't think that's realistic.
I just think it comes back to Griffin Murphy says this all the time. At the end of the day, there's just the Yankees are a better team. And I got to believe.
Trout hit a home run in the first inning already.
Well, and he'll be on the IR by the third.
I mean, if they lose, imagine if you just if you just rolled it over. So say you bet $100, you get the plus money. Yesterday you roll all that over, and today you roll it over. I mean, you'd be up like 10 times your money because they've been big underdog and they were a big favorite today. And with their ace on them, which is their ace now. Redon is like their ace at this point.
Yeah, they're just going through it right now. I guess the best thing is just stay away from the Yankees for a couple weeks. Kind of like, I mean, Philadelphia went through it a couple weeks ago. You remember when they lost like 7 straight, something like that, and they've been on fire since then. As a matter of fact, I can't wait. The Mets are coming to town this weekend. I think Philly's going to tear them up. I've been all over Atlanta this week because the Braves just own the Mets. I think the Mets are about to go through it. After, I think it was last week, I was like, yeah, they're on a heater. They've won 10 out of 12 or whatever it is. Of course, they run into the brick wall that is the Braves for 40 years. I think Philly is going to because they're playing really good baseball. The Mets are a little banged up right now. That's a series price I would look at, and I would definitely be looking at some of those games this weekend. I think Philly takes it to New York.
Don't you think the Yankees do have flaws? That's like they did have flaws. Yeah. Judge, if you take Judge out of that lineup, look what they're hitting.
They can't hit.
So it's like you're basically depending on one guy.
Team. Yeah, they're still not a great fielding team, and their starting pitching isn't overwhelming. They are not. They are a good team. They are not a great team.
I think there'll be buyers at the deadline. I mean, just because they're the Yankees.
With Cole out, you have to. Like if you put Cole in that lineup, it's a totally different thing because now all the pitchers move down one. Like you imagine Fried and Rodon pitching second or third pitchers. Right. It'd be a totally different story. Unfortunately, that's not happening. He's not coming back this year. So now there's not an ace, I don't think, available this year. That would like years past, if you would willing to pay up. I don't think there's any aces available. So now you're looking at 2, 3, and 4 pitchers.
Right. And again, if Max Fried is like Cy Young short list in the AL right now, right? Like he's been one of the 5 best pitchers in the American League without question, right? If he hadn't been as dominant as he has been, where would they be?
Oh, my goodness.
Add on ancillary stuff like Boston's been kind of a mess. Baltimore was like off the rails early. So if those 2 teams have been playing a little bit better baseball, where would the Yankees be? So, maybe what we're seeing now with this Angels thing, maybe it's just a little lull like all these teams go through, or maybe this is a harbinger of things to come that, last year's run to the World Series was fun. It was fun. It was exciting. We all liked it. That's great. But to your point, they are a flawed team, and the arrow might be pointed down with them long term.
Yeah, I'm not like Phillies when they were struggling. I was like, they're going to get this right.
Yeah,
because plus I think the worst part of their team is the bullpen, and that's the easiest thing to pick up at the deadline, like trade deadline, is pick up. You add two decent relievers, and boom, all of a sudden, you can move pieces around, and it's a lot better. So I think the Phillies aren't struggling, or I never was worried about them. I'm worried about the Yankees. If I was the Yankees, plus Blue Jays are playing great baseball, and so are the Rays. So now you got 2 teams in that division.
But do you really think they're going to challenge them at the end of the year? I mean, I know there's a lot of baseball left, but you really think
the Blue Jays have money?
Blue Jays maybe, but I don't think the Rays are. I think the Rays
are always there.
I don't know, man. We've seen them. Yeah, we've seen them do this before. Like they're not just hot playing good baseball now. How many times have we seen the Rays get hot for like 2 months? This is, and as I look at their team, it just looks like kind of a vintage Rays team. They're getting better than you expected results from the pitching. Bullpen's great. Defense is great. Hitting the ball a little bit. They kind of adjusted to that ballpark. I would be less surprised by a Yankees collapse and Toronto, Tampa Bay surge than I would be if the Yankees just ran away with that division. That would surprise me.
I don't think that's happening.
Because I don't think so either.
There's more likely a chance because Judge is getting used so much that Judge gets hurt. And if Judge, and we've seen him go down for not long periods of time, but if he goes down for 2-3 weeks, this team's in big trouble. And I don't know how many bats are going to be available this year at the trade. There's so many teams that are in it now with the two wild card. You look at them. Every team's within 4, 5, 6 games. I think someone said in the National League, right, is 500 basically. Within 500, you're within 4 or 5 games.
We mentioned them briefly. Like a team I'm keeping my eye on. I actually used them today. Is I'm keeping an eye on Baltimore. Right, come in with all these high expectations. Are they going to get over the hump this year? They threw up on themselves in April. They were bad in early May. But if you look at them over the last 3 weeks,
been good.
Starting to kind of look like that team, man. Like they're starting to play. I think today is a huge game. If they can come back and win this series against, again, a Tampa Bay team that had been really hot, or excuse me, earn a split versus losing 3 of 4. Baltimore is trending in the right direction, I feel like. I mean, of course, they're going with Chuckles Morton today, and that guy's been batting practice. So
I can't believe you don't have a better pitch.
It's unbelievable.
You don't have somebody in the minor leagues better than this guy at this point.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
He's got 3 wins on the year.
Does he have naked pictures?
Make the move and get Mackenzie Gore. He's right there, man. He's right there. Go get Mackenzie Gore.
I think his team's going to be sellers, though. They're going to be sellers, the Orioles, because they've got some nice pieces that you could go get stuff for. And even if you put Gore on that team, they're not leapfrogging Tampa Bay, Toronto, New York, and Boston, which you'd have to do 2 of the 3. And that's not happening at where they're at now, at least in the standings.
That's fair.
So what's the trade deadline this year?
Listen, 13-6 in their last 19 games.
They have,
and the trade deadline's another month away.
July 31st, right?
I'm not done with Baltimore.
So 5.5 weeks, is that right, before the trade deadline?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of baseball between now and then. So if you can win like they have the last 2 weeks, the next 2 weeks, okay, maybe it's a different story. It's just tough in that division. Like, how about my Reds? They're up again today.
Or they're losing 4-2 to the Twins right now.
Oh, they just were up 2-1.
Okay, you got to refresh.
Hey, how about my free play for today? I use this as a rated play, and I wanted to use it as a free play here because I'm so mad that I didn't make this a bigger play. This should have been like a much, much, much bigger play instead of the stupid 1-unit play that I made it. Houston at the Athletics. I'm still going to call them Oakland. I don't care. So we're going Houston and Oakland.
Okay, Indian Cowboy.
Okay. Right. I don't care. I don't give a damn. They're still Oakland. I'm not calling the Athletics. Take the over in this game. The over is at 10. It is hot. It is humid. And the wind is blowing straight out in a ballpark that has been very wind dependent. I mean, the ball already flies in.
It's a minor league park, yeah.
But now the wind is blowing straight out, and it's a little hotter, so the ball's going to carry more with less resistance. We also have 2 very young, very raw, very mediocre left-handed pitchers on the mound here. Jacob Lopez is going for the Athletics. Colton Gordon is going for Houston. Between the 2 of them, I think they have maybe like 14 career starts, and they both have ERAs pushing near 5. Oh, by the way, Houston is number 2 in the majors against left-handed pitching, and Oakland's been number 8 against lefties. That's the one thing they've done very well this year is hit left-handed pitching. Throw on top of the fact that Houston scored, like 24 runs in the first 2 games? They've hit double digits by themselves in the first 2 games of the series. Everything is just saying, 10-8 game, 11-7, something like that. Like, I don't think this one goes over. I think it goes way over tonight.
Robert, you know how I feel about betting over 10s. How I feel about that.
Lenny loves it.
The last time you talked me into it, we cashed. I'm not going to say it. I'm not complaining.
I'm just telling you, man.
I'm shopping my line right now.
There is a reason it is that large. And like I said, it's a 15-mile-an-hour wind blowing straight out to center field today. So
Houston, I literally put them in the World
Series. Folks, shop your lines. You can get 10, whatever, 10.5. Same,
I put Houston in the World Series pretty much because I said I think this is the year that all the losing your best players the last few 5 years. It seems like every year they lose a really good player, and it's like they kept replacing them. I was like, this is the year. As soon as I said that, this team's been the best record in baseball for the last 3 weeks. I mean, 12 games above 500. It would seem like yesterday they were like a 500 team basically, and in a division that looked like it was going to be pretty tough. Now all of a sudden it's like the same old Houston. So.
That's fair.
Houston and the over. I heard that. I heard a parlay.
I heard that. Ha! You boys would have been, I don't know, proud. I don't know what the word is. I actually released a parlay.
Parlay Robert. Here we go. Parlay Robert. Hashtag.
It was Dortmund.
Was it on accident?
Was the first leg.
He hit the wrong button.
I'm going to pull it up. It was Dortmund and River Plate. Okay. It was paying out. They were both big favorites. The parlay was paying out plus 160. So 5-unit play would have played 800. I had a 7-unit play on River Plate. I knew I loved River Plate so much that I was just looking for other ways to get them onto tickets, right? Hit the 7-unit play at like plus 140. So that was 1,000. But then the only thing they caught it was Dortmund outplayed their opponent, but they took a draw, 0-0. But I was very close. If they had just, I mean, they were like a minus 280 favorite. Like they were clearly the better team in their match too. When I watched it, they just couldn't score. But had they, that would have been like a plus 2,000 day from those two things. I was thinking to you guys the whole time, but what happened? The parlay lost, ladies and gentlemen. It lost. I had all the great reasons why it should, the value, the this, the that, but it lost because parlays suck.
Okay, fair. So listen, when I say parlay, to be clear, it's like 2 teams, 3 maybe. Okay, not parlay 5, 10-team lottery ticket. So I will ask you guys this because I thought of this question yesterday, actually. And Robert, you're the great person for me to ask this. Yesterday, I liked the card, the MLB card specifically, but it looked a little juicy to me. A lot of 150s, a lot of 160s, and I'll go that high, but it just seemed like there was a lot of them. And I didn't want to have a lot of volume and lay in a lot of juice. I didn't want to have those two things. So I found myself with a lot of 2-team parlays. Now, the Tigers and the Cubs got rained out, so that voided out a lot of them. But the Astros were I got some stuff. So did you ever, you don't ever, I know this, but like 2 minus 160 teams, that's a plus money parlay.
The best is if you can find one winner. Like Robert said, if you like one team and you like 3 other games and you just parlay them with every bet you place. Because if you're right on one, you're going to be right on like 3 or 4 plays.
Lenny, in those instances, what I do with baseball is don't be scared of the run line. I know people get scared of the run line sometime, but think, because again, if you think about how many times that actually happens, I know it stands out because it's frustrating when it does, when you take a run line and your team only wins by 1 run. Okay. But it actually happens much less than you would expect it to. Right? If your team's going to win, especially if it's a high juice situation, that usually means they have a dominant starter or something like that. Don't be scared of the run line, especially because you're usually getting that plus money value there. Those plus 145s, those plus 160 run lines. Okay.
All the Astros yesterday were the exact example of this. They were minus 160 on the money line, playing the Athletics, and then I went, F the Athletics. They don't even know what city they're from. And that was my version of dropping my cojones. And I bet the run line at minus 110-ish, whatever. And it cashed. They won 11-4. I felt good about that.
Right. Like, but I'm saying even in those games where there's not that big of a discrepancy, where it's not, Dodgers, Royals type of thing, where it's just, you handicap it and it's just like, you know what? I like Seattle today over, whoever, Minnesota. Okay. Sometimes don't be scared to drop a little something on that run line because you'll get that minus 1.5 at like plus 165, plus 170, plus 150. And like I said, in a lot of those games, especially non-divisional games, right? Where the teams aren't as familiar, you get some more lopsided scoring. They win by 4 runs. They win 5-1. They win 6-2. They you know what I mean? They win 3-0 or something like that.
Trust the process.
I think if that's the decision, if the decision making is, do I parlay these or do I drop on the plus money run line? Just go to the plus money run line. That's my advice.
Robert, I know you've been doing it a bunch, right? Robert, this year the -1 on the run line, because then you don't lose on if they win by 1. That's another
you can push. Are you talking about the alternate run lines, or sometimes you can manipulate the math on the money line and the run line?
Well, they like FanDuel and DraftKings, I think they just do the straight -1. So if your team wins by 1, you get a push. That's like not such a bad deal. Now you're not going to get like you say it's a -1. Like take the Astros yesterday. I had it yesterday with the Astros. -150 becomes like -125. It's just a more playable game. If they win by 1, you get a refund. So you don't lose. Now you cannot really do that if it's -250 and you lay the -1. They don't even offer it. You got to lay the full -1.5, and then you get it at -150 or something. So,
but that's the thing. In those instances, I will still put a little bit on the straight run line, or excuse me, the straight money line, and then a little bit on the 1.5. So so in that instance, I still cash. It'll be a 3-unit play on the money line, 2-unit play on the run line type of thing. So if they do win by 1 run, I still show a small profit. But if they do what I think they're going to do, then those profits escalate. So that's how I play it.
That Houston Astros game, and then the Houston and Athletics, and then the Phillies game was my like two scenarios of that yesterday, where they were both minus 160, and I parlayed. Don't get me wrong, I won both. I was a degenerate, and it worked out for me in that particular scenario.
It's degenerate, not degenerate. You're a degenerate. You're good. You're good. You're good.
Whatever. Hey, but Lenny, I did that, and I messed around some run lines.
Lenny, you do the bet every once in a while, right? With if for home teams that are favored, no bat,
ninth inning.
That gives you a lot of value as well. Now, granted, you just don't want to see overtime. It's the three-way line in hockey. It's like you just don't want to see one going into the third. You'd probably be screwed.
Yeah. Well, the Cubs are a perfect scenario for that today against the Brewers. They're like minus, I think, 120-ish money line, 130-ish, 130. You can get that close to even money and no bat ninth inning.
There you go.
So
what's that run line? What's that run line sitting at?
Plus 120.
Plus 150, 160. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
I see you.
This is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? You dabble a little bit on the money line, and then you just sprinkle a little bit on that run line. And like I said, when they win 7-2,
I always like Cubs games. If I like Cubs and the wind's blowing out, and you obviously got to wait closer to game time to play it. Wind's blowing out, I like the minus run and a half because I think it's going to be lots of runs, and I just hoping that it's going to be the Cubs. That's not all ballparks are like that, but the Chicago Cubs are definitely like that.
Now,
all right, Craig, before we get out of here.
Wait, real quick. I know Craig has a big play in the NBA. Are we really not going to talk at all about the NBA?
I was just going to say, let's talk. If you got some kind of craziness in the NBA, you don't want to talk about your premiums or anything like that.
There's no craziness. Just take the Thunder, right? Just take the Thunder. No. I went back and looked over the last month of basketball. The Eastern and Western Conference Finals, the NBA Finals. How many times do you think a team has won the game but not covered the spread? Out of 22 games.
5.
One time.
Wow.
It happened in game 4 of the Western Conference Final where Oklahoma City won 128-126, and they didn't cover like a 3.5-point tie.
And they were covering and missed a couple free throws. So that
right, which they should have. So that's what I'm saying. So the winner has covered 21 out of 22 of the last NBA games tonight. So if you were betting Indiana, you better be saying – you might as well take the money line.
I got a sprinkle on the money line.
I think Halliburton plays. I think he plays well. I think they win the game and send it to game 7. Do it like that. But
if you like the Pacers, shouldn't you play Halliburton like over and parlay it with the money line? Because if they win, he has to play good.
Not necessarily.
McConnell has been good for spurts, but it's usually against the second units where he does so well all year long. He's going to be against the number ones, and I don't like that.
I know, but we see it all the time in sports. Team loses their star player. Everybody else steps up and plays out of their goddamn minds. They're at home. Does Oklahoma City take its foot off the gas and close it out at home a little bit? I don't know. For me, I'm Oklahoma City. I say lay the points. Okay, I think they're going to win. This is what I've been saying on this show. I said Florida was going to win. This was back in April, in early May. I was like, Florida's obviously going to win the Stanley League Cup. I know Nick didn't want to hear it. Sorry about that ticket, Nick. And, come the beginning of the Western Conference Finals, I was like, it is obvious that Oklahoma City is going to win the final. So that's why I'm on them. But I'm telling you, out there, if you disagree with that, it should be money line on Indiana or just lay the points with Oklahoma City.
Nick should be kicking himself for not opting or cashing out, because I'm sure 100%. He had a bunch of chances to cash out before that series. We had that 4 days off, and
shooters shoot.
It was they did have home field, they did have home ice, but that was really the only edge when you really looked at that series. Home ice, they didn't have the goalie edge, they didn't have the experience edge. They had nothing. They didn't have as good as depth. I mean, they had McDavid. That was it. You have the best player in hockey. That wasn't enough.
People were busting my balls last week when I talked about that, about middling, hedging, and cashing out. They're like, no, let it ride. Yeah, it's easy to be that kind of let it ride warrior when it's somebody else's money, or when you just don't care, when it's a $500 ticket that you just don't care about. But again, professionals doing it every day, no, you take the free profit. When they just put free money in front of you, you take it, even if it's smaller than what you could get by letting it ride.
People ask me about cashing out. I always say, how much is this going to change your life? Because if you have a change your life type wager that like, hey, $10,000 is a lot of money. You make $5,000 a month. That's like 2 months out. You cash out. You take the profits and move. Now, if it's you make $500,000 a year and this is a $500 wager, I wouldn't cash out because it's not going to change your life one way or the other. So it does have something to do with your bankroll and what you bet per game and your comfort level on, like, can you maybe hedge out later in the series? Like if you got up, can you hedge out at a better price? Like they could have hedged out at a better price because the Oilers won game 1. The Oilers game 1, he could have cashed out an even better price. That would have been the game to hedge out and be like, okay, I'm at least hedge out. So,
I still hate to lose. I still hate to lose more than I love to win. So for me, if anything that I can do to avoid a loss and take a guaranteed profit, I'm going to do that and then move on to the next.
We're also going to start getting into CFL here on this show as the weeks go on, especially with Robert here on Friday.
Not it. Nope, no CFL for me, buddy.
I'm like 2 weeks away from CFL.
I'm starting to dabble in college and NFL preparation, really.
You are.
I'm like 2 weeks away from being like full bore. Like that's all I'm going to want to talk about. So no, and I'm soccer, man. Tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit of soccer because, like I said, I'm amped about that. I like the over. Last free pick real quick, 3:00 match. Inter Miami is playing Porto. Get the over in that match. They both played 0-0 draws in their first match. That is not going to happen. Both of those matches should have had probably 3 goals in them. Instead, they were 0-0. Miami's defense has been a mess in the MLS. It is not going to hold up against these Portuguese players. Inter Miami over.
I like the Guardians. That's a free play for you. Guardians plus money today. San Francisco just can't score runs. They got Devers. It doesn't matter. They can't score. Like they hold guys to 2-3 runs and lose on a consistent basis. I don't know how you address it because you can't replace everybody. San Francisco, if you take that pitching staff and put that on the Dodgers they'd only have like 5 or 6 losses this year.
Yeah, I like it. Cleveland's one of those teams that I don't bet against as an underdog. Like I'll bet on them as an underdog. I'll bet on them as a favorite. I do not bet against Cleveland.
I did with Robbie Ray. I had Robbie Ray and everybody. Tony was on. We all had him. I said, "Oh, we're going to lose for sure," because everybody on this had him.
Robbie Ray's got 2 losses, and it's only because of Doc.
We jumped on the back.
We apologize. It's 100%. All of us were on that. As soon as we clicked off air, I was like, "I'm out."
It's like when you have a little small boat and you put Craig, Lenny, and another guy in the boat. You're like, oh, shit, this thing might not make it.
We were in a canoe in rough waters, folks. We knew it. No paddle needed. All right, guys, don't forget about the free 60, YouTube Premium, all that good stuff. We'll see you guys tomorrow, Doc's Daily, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'll be here with these 2 knuckleheads. We'll have more soccer action. Maybe Robert will give you a CFL parlay. I'm just kidding. That just sounds fun to say.
Hey, 2 7-unit plays. 2 guys on our site have 7-unit plays. So they're both on the same side. So check that out too. They're both feeling that.
Boom. There you go. Good luck unless you're against us. We'll see you tomorrow.